This is a video on how to make a cam lock tool out of a Harbor Freight Serpentine belt tool kit. I made this tool because, well, why won't you focus? Because the tool was pretty expensive. They sell them on Amazon. I think they're somewhere around $70. But if you read the reviews on that, it's made of aluminum and it bends easily when you're working on the V6 Toyota engine. And that's what I'm going to be working on. I'm going to have to do a timing belt change on an 03 Avalon with a V6. And that tool, every review I read on that tool, it would bend. So I looked at other tools, and the more stout tools made out of iron and not aluminum were in the neighborhood of $100 and higher. And I'm sure that's a nice tool. I just don't want to spend $100 if I don't have to. So I tried to figure out how I could make one, and I almost went and bought metal from a metal supply store. And I thought, well, let me go check out Harbor Freight. And Harbor Freight had nothing there. I didn't find it online. I went inside, they didn't have it. And so I went down the aisle, spoke to someone, all of a sudden I saw this. And I thought, wow, I can maybe get this to work. So what I ended up doing was I had a 20% off coupon, and I think it started out at $15, and it brought it down to, I don't know, $12.99. 10% off would be $1.50 times 2, $3. $3 from 15, so $14.99. That actually would have brought it down to $11.99. Yeah, $12. So what I ended up doing was, I was originally going to grind some of these pieces off, and I was going to drill this out, and I decided not to. This ended up being the best course of action for assembling this. What I did have a hard time doing was drilling through the center if well, I didn't have a drill press, so I kept coming off of center. So what I ended up doing was getting the bolts and everything, I think were definitely less than $10, somewhere maybe in the neighborhood of 5. So this smaller one is a 5/16. All these are grade 5 bolts. I couldn't find grade 8, plus those are more expensive. These are 3/8, and I had locking washers left over. It pivots, and in order to drill through the center and get it to the center, like this one here is not quite centered, but I think it'll be fine. I ended up having to make a pilot hole, and then I drew a line, found the center, made an X, lined the X up in the hole with a nice light so I didn't have a shadow or anything and making me think that it's not really centered. Clamped it down. I clamped it down in my 20-ton press, and then clamped it in the front here with a C-clamp, and then just started drilling. And once I started to drill, I got a divot right in the middle, and I could have had some sharper bits that would have helped me, but I ended up cutting off the top of it, which was the other, I think 3/8, or yeah, it was probably 3/8 drive. I could have just flipped it over so it was facing the back, and I used a grinder in order to make that nice and flat. So if you're going to build this tool, what you need, just bare minimum, you're going to need a file, and you're going to need a drill with 5/16 drill bit and 3/8. If you have all that, you can make it. You don't need to cut this off at all. But All depends on how nice you want to make this tool. And does it work is the big question. Well, I don't know if it works on a Toyota yet. That'll have to be an updated video. But it does work on a Honda. You put it in just like that. And I think it's a 1/2 inch nut I have in the center here. And you can tighten it down so it holds it in its place. Then grab a breaker bar. And you can see how I can turn this thing, although there's not that much. So let me use some ingenuity here. Hold it with my leg. Oops. It's going to be more difficult than I thought. There. So, yes, it works. And then I can use it, obviously, to tighten it as well. That's probably about as tight as I want to get it. It's probably too tight. So, Harbor Freight Serpentine tool. Come on. How to make it into a cam lock. I hope other people follow this and it helps them out, saves them $40 or so, or you could spend a lot more, get more tools that if you don't have, and still end up spending the same amount and keep more tools. So good luck to everybody.